Okay, it's time to take a look at all the valuable stuff that people throw out on curbside cleanups. This is the 2024 winter curbside cleanup in the part of town where I live in Sydney, Australia.
But watch out, it could become a kid's video if I start entertaining kids. Oh, YouTube sucks.
And this video is delayed because I had some catastrophic technical issues with my Onion studio display. Oh, crap! Okay, it's just gone pop. Man, that scared the shit out of me. And many times in life when I've had a major failure, I learn lots of things about how companies work. Catastrophic failures of top-end gear need to be refunded in a simple and timely manner. We got there in the end with the Onion Company, but it took way too long. So when I'm looking at rubbish thrown out on the curbside cleanup, I'm often wondering how much life has this item given a consumer? Is it still in warranty? Has it been good value for money? In this curbside cleanup study, there's a wide variety of items that I find. Amazingly, I find a model of Air Force One, and the backstory behind that reveals some very curious things about this model. I find a fair few Dysons this time around, and that just goes on top of all the other Dysons that I've collected over the years. And I have a major revelation when I take a look at the rubbish piles this time because I'm doing it all wrong. I make bugger all money from making videos about rubbish, but I'm looking at a lot of stuff that could be resold for very good coin. What I'm noticing is as the divide between the haves and the have-nots gets greater and greater, the desperation of people picking valuable things from the rubbish piles is starting to really ramp up. Okay, before we get into the video, let's remember Teddy. Okay, this is the first pile of rubbish I'm going to take a look at for the winter curbside cleanup. Let me just put my coffee down. Yeah. I recognise that clothesline from Aldi from quite a few years back now, but maybe the real gold is the toys here. Quite fitting considering this is a rubbish video. There's a garbage truck here. It looks like a generic one that you would have bought from possibly Kmart Australia. Okay, I can't see any branding on there, just says made in China, blah blah. Looks like it had batteries in it as well. It would have been like a garbage thing here that emptied into that. Look, it would have been a lot of fun back in the day. But as you can see, it's now trash. I can see what would have been the base of a crane toy. I'm pretty sure that's what that was. Again, it's screaming like Kmart toys. I can see this here, it's like a little moped. Bits missing from it. It just feels cheap and nasty. Right here, it's Mac, I believe, from Disney Pixar Cars. I hope this is a legit toy. I'm just looking for some info on it. Copyright 2017 Mattel, Disney Pixar, made in China. I can see all the wheels here are still connected. They're still spinning and working, even the back wheels as well. I like this because it's showing some Disney Cars love. It's been customized a bit. Man, remember that Lightning McQueen I saw in the summertime cleanup? That was freaking awesome. I remember that for a long time. It was a fantastic customized McQueen. But this is Mac, and maybe you're a fan of Mac. It looks like it's all still there. It's just a shame that it's going out into the rubbish pile. It's going to end up as landfill. It has been raining. It does look like someone's busted into this bag looking for stuff, yet I think they've left stuff behind that could have been played with. There's that there. I think it's one of those things that plays on water. I might be wrong there. It's bringing back some weird memories. It does seem a bit generic. I can see an elephant. Often I see an elephant on the rubbish pile, I can tell you. I can see a black bear here. I can see Mater, the Disney diecast style. I think it's just an ordinary Mater in a sense. It's sort of interesting. I've come across Mater quite a few times, and I've always had a thought that Mater's fairly popular. Yes, I might be keeping that one, okay. Woo! Looks like a little mask or something, a bit of a masquerade party. I can see some Lego here. Lego's got a great resale price. I'm not sure why it's on the rubbish pile here. It is a per kilogram price that you get for Lego. There's larger, is that the Megabucks thing? Yeah, that's probably worth 0. Shouldn't say it like that. I think, what's that one there? That's Lego. God, I hope I'm right there. So yeah, that's Lego big blocks, but that's Megabucks. Okay. The more I look here, there's actually a fair bit of the Lego larger style blocks. It's probably got a name, but I haven't got a clue what it is. There's the dinosaur here, so it's really painting a picture of the fun that would have been had with all these different toys. You can start to see the animals building up there. There is a train of some sort. I hope that's a train. I've got no idea who that is, but it looks sort of cool. That's its sort of track there. Made in China, I can see. What else can I see there? Not much else. Yeah, might have been generic. Look, it might be something. Put that there as well. Continuing on, I can see a Hot Wheels vehicle there. Maybe starts to dictate an era of what's going on here. Another, could be Hot Wheels or Matchbox. Another Hot Wheelsy sort of thing. And oh, what's down here? Could have been a spider in there, but it wasn't. It's that there, whatever that toy there is. I've got no frippin' idea. Might have been a Play-Doh-y thing. I can see you push stuff up through there. I hope I'm correct in saying Play-Doh. There's also this here, and I accidentally hit this before and it went into mayhem mode. Let's see if I can do it again. Yeah, so it would have been attached to a toy at some stage. Maybe you can read underneath there and it'll tell you something about it. All I know, it's got those little batteries that if you swallow the batteries, it kills you. Put that back in the pile. But in seeing this pile of rubbish, I actually see something that is quite advantageous to me. Maybe you can work it out as well. Oh, this is a very interesting pile of rubbish, and boy, I'm excited. It's got a Dyson. I'm just trying to work out what DC number this one is. It's got one of the telescopic doodahs inside. Yeah, it's missing its electrical cable. Let's take a look underneath here, see how much wearing and enduring it's done. Put it this way, it's not a spring chicken. There, so for me, that's a keeper. Another thing that's caught my eye, and it's been pulled apart, but it's a DVD and VHS player. You remember when they were all the rage? Wow, let's bring back some memories. It's been smashed up, unfortunately, probably a collector's piece. And just for the fanboys, I can see an RC fan here. If I don't look at the fans, the fanboys, they get cranky at me. I think the fan's been fiddled and diddled with. Yeah, maybe we'll take a look at that there. That's the info thing on the RC fan, just for the fanboys. It's a real mixed array of goodies here, but for me, the Dyson is the pick. A strange rubbish pile, a lot of stuff which has been opened up and broken into, a lot of electronics here as well, but I've sort of got a giggle when I see an array of vacuum cleaners like that. Yes, maybe it's telling you don't go anywhere near stuff like this. One thing about all these vacuum cleaners is just how little wear and tear they show, and this one's a curious one. It's a Samsung one. God, it gave me a scare, then made some sort of retracting the cable sound. Let's take a look at the label under here. That's a bit of a different read. It's a country next door to China, made in Vietnam. All I know is all this stuff is headed for landfill. An interesting rubbish pile were two things that caught my eye. The vacuum cleaner to start with. I don't want to spend too much time on this junk. It's one of these cleaners that has like a German name, Wortham. Now I remember there was a carpet shampooer that I saw on the summertime cleanup that when I investigated it, it was just nothing but a pile of very, very expensive junk. This could be in the same category. I see it has a class of cyclonic pets upright, as in pets as in plural, so you have more than one cats or dogs. And I will look at, there's a little spider running on this, I'll just try and find the thing that'll show us where it's made. Mind you, it does look like a spider nest in there. I'm not surprised. Maybe I'm going to have to turn this little puppy over and be very careful of spiders. Okay, the first warning sign for me is I can see 1 year warranty there. That's strike number 1, and I can see below that where it says Wortham. It's like a German name, but it's made in China. This is just going to be rubbish. This could have been the greatest vacuum cleaner in the world. I'm not going to investigate what product reviews say. Maybe you've had one of these and maybe you can tell me more about it. I can put it up on its own pedestal. Now, isn't that absolutely magical? Moving on from the German named made in China vacuum cleaner, there is next to it a giant Hot Wheels set. This wouldn't have been a cheap set. This is a massive set. It looks like it's missing some track parts. And it looks like it was called the Hot Wheels Ultimate Garage. Yes, it really is the Ultimate Garage. If you're a little person, this set would have seemed huge. I can see a jeopardy area here of a shark.
I can make the shark talk like that. Stuff like that, I could become a kid's videos on start entertaining kids. Oh, YouTube sucks.
I wish I was joking about that, but sadly that's how this site works now. It's so anti-producer, it's not funny. I can see a Hot Wheels car here. Let me take a look at this. Looks like the name of this car is symbolic. At least it looks far nicer than that wretched Shane Warne Hot Wheels vehicle from some years ago now. I quite like the look of that car. Unfortunately, there's a lot of track missing here. I was going to try to make the playset play. About all I can do is put the car here and pretend to have some Hot Wheels fun. Sort of. Oh God, the car. Oh, phew. It's still okay. How naughty of me to be so disrespectful to the beautiful Hot Wheels vehicle. I'll reset the Hot Wheels world here. I'd hate to cause Hot Wheels rage in the Hot Wheels fan base. So there we go. Hopefully I've turned what looks like rubbish into something half interesting. This is a very, very curious find. It's a lawnmower. It's a petrol lawnmower. It's a brand called Yard King. And I've already had a look. It's made in China and this is not very old. The first thing I'm going to note is the lawn here. It looks like it hasn't been cut for some time. Okay, I can clearly see this lawnmower has done very little work. Let me see if it's seized or not. Being very careful, I don't want it to kick on me. It's free spinning and that blade is nice and sharp. What's going on here then? Yes, okay, so it's got oil and the oil looks nice and clean. Wow, that is quite strange. That's more evidence this lawnmower's done barely anything. The other place to look is the air filter. That tells you what's been going on, and that is Mickey Mouse clean. That is just astonishing. That's the primer there to get fuel into the system. That's where the throttle connection comes down onto the lawnmower. Let me just see if I can turn this over. I can't believe it. This is going to run. It's a goer. Yeah, baby, yeah. Although it's blowing a bit of smoke there. That's not a good sign. Let me just turn this off. Wow. This beautiful Chinese-made Yard King lawnmower that was only 2 years old has already had a dedicated video done around it because I ended up speaking to the owner of this lawnmower. He detailed to me how long he had it for, how much he paid for it, and the problem with it and why it was thrown out. And basically, it was thrown out because it was blowing a lot of smoke. And the smoke it's blowing is engine oil smoke. It's not as if two-stroke oil has been put into the fuel. It seems to be a problem either with the valve guides or possibly the oil scraper ring that's on the piston. And when I looked at the date of manufacture of this Chinese-made lawnmower, that pointed to a time where, let's just say, things were not normal. This style of lawnmower is marketed as your bottom-end El Cheapo petrol-powered lawnmower. And I went to my local big Bunnings hardware store to see how they're presented in-store, and that's where I found what was basically two identical lawnmowers. Sure, they were different colors. They came from different manufacturers, supposedly, and they had two very different prices of $105 difference. But the more I looked at these two lawnmowers, the less I could see that was different about them, and basically what we're looking at is two identical lawnmowers set at two very different prices. And I would never have found this unless I'd found that Yard King lawnmower thrown out way too early on the side of the road, and it sent me down a really interesting bunny hole of consumer affairs. And I tell you what, no matter where you live, as a consumer, you really have to be buyer beware. You really need to understand what you're purchasing in relation to other things that are similar before you hand your money over. Okay, another rubbish pile. There's a fridge, looks like a lot of curtains there. And there's quite an unusual Dyson. This is a little bit unusual for a number of reasons. It's a Dyson DC23. It's missing the clear dust collection bin that's here, although I can see the bottom of the bin is at the back there. The other really curious part is I can see that floor attachment there, but I think there's a piece missing. The bottom piece of that's missing. It doesn't look that used. Let me take this piece off. It's attached to nothing. Now I'm looking at the, I'll call it the motor end of it. I can see there's an attachment here. Okay. I'll look at this last. I'm just showing you the condition this is in. You know, usually when vacuum cleaners are used, there's a lot of scuff marks to wheels and all. I'm not seeing that here, which is very, very unusual for a Dyson. Yeah, that little roller wheel there, that's in remarkable condition. This is what gets hammered if you use these machines a lot. It's a curious machine. I can see it's got a little door here. This looks like it was a filter. I think that says filter there, so there would have been a filter in there. That's not there. I've collected a bit of an audience here while I'm looking at this, and one question I was just asked by a gentleman was, does this work? Can it be repaired? And he's just walking away there. And I said to him, no, it's missing vital components. I think the curious part really for me is it's had very little use. Let's take a look at that there. There we are, Dyson DC23, made in Malaysia, as they always tend to be. Someone in the audience can tell me the year date there because I keep forgetting how to work it out. It's a real Dyson mystery, and the more I look at this, it just screams of lack of use. They would have been hammered by now, those little buttons there. And the last piece I'm going to look at is this very special cone area. And the other way you can tell if a Dyson's been used is when you take a look up this end here. Looks like a jet engine, doesn't it? Looks really cool. And I can't see very much dust in there. I'm thinking this vacuum cleaner's had absolute bugger all use. It's difficult to do a Sherlock Holmes here. I'd love to know the backstory behind this vacuum cleaner. So strange to find a Dyson which has had very little use thrown out in the rubbish pile. It may have been a spare parts mission, that's why parts have gone missing. But really the whole thing is, to me, a complete and utter Dyson mystery. Oh, like magic, that's a miracle. The missing parts are back. Oh, the residents were watching me and they probably thought, oh, that poor guy, he must be a Dyson fanboy and he wants a whole Dyson. So I've got this piece now, I've got that piece now. Hey, maybe I can turn this into a whole Dyson. Okay, I've got the bottom of the dust collection bin onto that piece there. Now that piece there has to marry up with this piece here somehow, I think. Okay, I've lined it up and I believe it goes in like that. I've got that wacky there. I wasn't going to take this home because it was an incomplete machine, and that goes in like that. Oh yes, yes, Mr. Dyson, you're going to love me. I can put together the head attachment wacky thing, and it seems to go like that. Oh yeah, and it's got some doodly doodlies to doodle up to make it one complete piece. Yeah. Oh, this is going to be one very, very beautiful machine. It is all coming together in Dyson glory. Just one more little thing to do to make it look like the complete Dyson deal. Dyson DC23 reassembled. Oh yeah. And that for me is an absolute keeper. A very boutique and cute pile of rubbish here. And I'm going to take a look at the fan because the fanboys once said to me, I never look at the fans enough, and I can see that it's broken at the top. You can see the quality there. There's a bit of rusticles going on the metalwork there. That's what I mean by rusticles. Yeah, quality. And when thinking of quality, let's take a look there. Made in China. It's still got its electrical cord. There's no earth there, and that means it's double insulated. And just to get back onto that sign there, that double square also means double insulated. Got to be educational or else you get flagged off the site. And often When you push the buttons here, it makes sort of funky sounds. Listen. Oh, that was underwhelming, wasn't it? And I'd say the only valuable thing here is the electrical cable that has not been snipped away, but I'm sure that time will happen soon. A lovely pile of rubbish. Notice the office chair is here, and during COVID, you rarely ever saw an office chair put out because they became the most important thing to have in the house when we're in lockdown. But we're going to take a look at the art. Okay, maybe the most valuable thing here is the frames. There's piece number one. Sort of looks like child stuff to me. Maybe you know more about this than me. Piece number two could be from a very famous artist. You just never know. I'm just going to look on the back. No, nothing on the back. And the third in this selection is that there. Yeah, it could be someone famous, or it could be someone infamous. I notice a signature down there, but honestly I can't read it. Maybe you could decipher that one. Then there's this bigger frame here with that piece of art there. It's quite lovely. It's quite relaxing to look at. I can see a signature down the bottom there. Again, it's not saying much to me. On the back of the beautiful waterfalls picture, there is more info. So we'll flip it around and we're going to read what it says down there. Quite an interesting read here. I can see a date of the 13th of the 1st, 2009. And I can also see a value of $1,297. Wow, that's amazing. So this piece is called Barara's Secret Waterfall. Should I take it home? I'm not a paintings or print sort of person, but it does show you what of value is put out into the rubbish pile. I'm sure someone's going to come along, pick this up, and they're going to flog it online somewhere, or keep it as a lovely thing for their wall at home. I always put things back to as I found them with the noisy truck passing me by. Love noisy trucks. But there, I've reset it to how it was. I'm not a suburb wrecker. Let's have a quick look at this pile of rubbish here. There might be something utterly disturbing and disgusting here. Well, this is the first thing that caught my eye. It's a decapitated Winnie the Pooh. In fact, it's a Christmas themed Winnie the Pooh decapitated. That is totally disgusting. And to add to that disgust is what looks like some sort of mop doodah thing, whiz bang doodah. Okay, got your eyes on that sort of thing. Have you had one of these? Doesn't look like it's been used a lot. Looks like it was a battery powered unit. I bet you this rubbish was made in China. Let's take a look. There we go, made in BRC. Thank you, China. In my books, that's just disturbing stuff. That's even more disturbing. I mean, who does that to Winnie the Frippin' Pooh? I don't know. What I will do is I always put the rubbish back to as I found it. Nice and gently, of course. I know you're going to say, but Leo, you missed out on the other funky stuff that was next to that ratty mop. This looks like an interactive video game, Wing Commander 3. I've got no idea what era that's from. I do recognise some of the people here. It looks like it's all here. It's probably worth $1 billion on eBay. Okay, maybe that's bringing back some grand memories. Maybe you can tell me more about that. I really don't want to know, but notice it's out on the rubbish pile. There is a Simpsons game, Simpsons guessing game. It's like a, oh, there's that other famous game that it'll be ripped off from. At the moment I've got a mental blank. Should I pull this out and have a look? Made a flipping huge mess. Yeah, now I've made an audience as well, so I've just got to tidy this up. Yeah, okay, so we saw that, and then we've got this here, a Dr. drill. Okay, bringing back some memories, I hope. Let's take a look at this. Again, it's more of a rip-off of that surgical game. At the moment I can't remember its name, but you got a bit of a gist on that. I will tidy all this up, believe me. This is that last piece of the game I'm cleaning up. Oh, look, it's Krusty the Clown. Hey, what luck is that, finding Krusty? In fact, I'm going to keep that, hey? Whew. There we go, it's all tidied up, no more pieces anywhere. I will put this neatly into the pile here. And yeah, maybe that's bringing back some memories. And maybe this is worth $1 squillion on eBay, I'm sure you'll tell me. Good memories there for some of you, I'm sure. This is really weird. This is where I made note of the one pedestal fan that was all by itself, just for the fanboys. It's gone. Like, the rubbish piles haven't been picked up yet, but what's left behind is, it looks like people have come along and cut electrical cables. So one of these, I think it was that one there, was off that fan. Hope I'm correct there. That's just wild. I'm pretty sure I said the only thing I saw of value there was the electrical cable on that fan. So why is the fan being taken away? Am I missing something here? Let me have a small rant about our telecommunications network. I'm at a high point of our suburb and we've had a lot of rain, and I noticed this here, and I think this is a lot to do with why the internet where I live is so ratty. Okay, so here's a pit, which is a telecommunications pit, and as you can see there, it's totally flooded. Wonderful. I know when it's raining at home, I don't have to look out the windows, I just have to look at my internet connection because it falls over. But telecommunication pits that are flooded out, hey, situation normal where I live. What I don't understand is there's a flooded communications pit there. The conduit for that would run along the side of the pathway there. Yet on the other side here, we've got a major drain network. Again, I'm at the top of the suburb. I'm on the top ridge. I'm on a high point. And here is the major drain right here. So why doesn't the communications pit that's running along there somehow drain into here? Or am I just being a little bit too simplistic? I'm just headed back towards where I saw the artworks on the side of the road. We've had a lot of rain, as you can see there. And the kookaburras are laughing at me again. More sign of the rain we've had. Looks like water bubbling up out of the ground there. And I tell you what, this morning it's frickin' freezing. Mind you, it is winter time. Okay, this was the boutique pile of rubbish here where the artworks were. And I can see that the art has been taken away. So someone's made some very easy coin in picking up that wonderful art. It's another reminder to me, I'm in the wrong game. There's some piles of rubbish that just look like pieces of art and beautiful. I like this one. We've got an office chair there. We've got a cap that's related back to a beer company. We've got the Australian flag. It's bringing a tear to my eye. And it looks like we've got an iPhone box there, iPhone 6S. Yeah, just beautiful. And maybe a bit of a challenge here is, tell me which one of these things that I just pointed out was made in Australia. Maybe I can give you a clue by just looking into one thing here. This beautiful cap, related back to a big company. It's also related back to a sport. Let's take a look at the label there. Ooh, made in China. There once was a time when a lot of the stuff here would have been made in Australia. Maybe the iPhone is the odd thing out. But hey, that's how it rolls now. And it looks like we're never ever going to go back to how it used to be. Okay, this is a very curious pile of rubbish. There's a lot of electronics stuff here. I think there's some early DVD players there. Very early versions of them. There's boxes of microphones here. And I wouldn't know a good microphone from a bad one. All sorts of audiophile stuff there. Lots of cables. Obviously the scrap metal merchants haven't found this here. More microphones in here. More electrical cables connected to this, which we're going to talk about very soon, and some sort of mixing Denon DNX 800 soundboard. If I get it around the right way, maybe it will make more sense. Okay, so put your little hot eyes across that, and maybe you can tell me more about this. Was this some sort of DJ home thing, or was it something professional? The one thing about this, I can tell you, it is an extremely heavy device. So in my mind, heavy means quality, but it might mean rubbish as well. You're going to tell me because I know nothing about audio stuff. And this is the ins and outs along the back here. It's speaking volumes to me about what's going on here. No pun intended. Maybe working out where this was made is going to tell if it's good or bad. The info is down there. There we go, made in Japan, serial numbers, blah, blah, blah. So I dare say it is quality. I've got a gut feeling this would not be a cheap unit back in the day. And maybe I'm totally wrong. I'm just, speaking rubbish here. Again, no pun intended because we're on a rubbish pile. I will take a look at this unit next. It's a Pioneer CD, CDV LD player, CDL 2710K. I think the CDV is compact disc video. But more importantly, this is a Laserdisc player. If you like the animated show, regular show, this is like the Format Wars all-in-one box. Let me just take the microphones off the top here. And I think these were around in the late 70s. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure of the era of this machine here. I can tell you this thing weighs a ton. And it's the first time I've seen a laser displayer out in the rubbish piles, and that's why I'm making a point of it. Man, oh man, this thing weighs about the same as 4 or 5 house bricks. Oh, I'm gonna try to get around to the back of it. Just give me a break here. Okay, this is the rear of the laser disc machine. If you had one of these, maybe bringing back some memories. And there is a serial number here and a date, and we'll look at that next. There's a manufacturing serial number, April 1993. That's an important panel to read. It tells you the model number. Curiously, it's NTSC, which is an American format, but this machine is made in Japan. Don't see that too often these days. As a video person, what I notice is it's got fairly clunky video out ports, and I wouldn't categorize that as being good video out. Well, back in the late 70s, 80s and 90s, all you ever had was composite video. And remember, this is a 1993 machine, and I think by, was it the mid-90s, that the DVD player came along, and it would have completely abolished this format. An absolutely beautiful machine, lots of buttons to play with. It would have been the pride of the lounge room back in the day. And remember, there's no DVD here. Yeah, so I think DVD nailed this baby. I'll put this back as I found it. If I was smart, I'd make YouTube videos about this. People seem to get lots of views looking at old tech like that, but I'm not that bright these days. I always put the rubbish piles back to as I found it. And I'll tell you what, this thing weighs a ton. It really does. It's a real clunker. And potentially something as elaborate as that has been superseded by an app on your iPhone. That's how it rolls now. Well, that was a nice little surprise package on the rubbish pile. Nice to see that lovely made in Japan boogie. I'm going to take a look at this piece of furniture here, and this is what I'm classifying as old style, old school furniture. Something from a bygone era. I can tell that because of the way it's made. This is very much reminiscent of the sort of furniture that my mother and my grandmother had. And when I take a look under here, it'll tell us a few more stories about it. Older furniture often has chalk or pencil marks on it from when it was made, and I dare say that's what's going on there. And I also see next to that some wasp nests. So that's a mud dauber wasp. I dare say this was outside for some period of time. This furniture could have easily been made in Australia, but it was very much the IKEA furniture of its era. Hope you understand what I mean there. There's probably all sorts of secrets hiding away inside. Let's take a look in there. Oh crikey, Charlie's, all I can see is a stack of, well, wasp and spider activity. I can see a pencil mark on the back timber of this piece of furniture, but very much a welcome to Australia style bit of gear. Well, it wasn't that long ago in a curbside cleanup I spoke about very average homes in the suburbs selling for $1 million. Well, we've hit an all-time new high. The beautiful average house that you're seeing here sold for an eye-watering $2 million at auction. The auction starting price, or suggested price to start with, was $1.2 million, and within a few minutes it rapidly rose to $2 million. That's an $800,000 difference between an agent's suggested selling price versus the auction sell price. It's a very average home. It's the same era of home as I purchased in Barara in Sydney. Inside it reminded me so much of the house that I bought some 17 years ago, but hey, I only paid $400,000 for where we live. There's not a chance I would ever be paying $2 million for a property of this style and heritage, saying heritage in the nicest way. Yes, the block is excellent. That is the main feature of this piece of property, but I tell you what, when I see property selling for $2 million, which are very average, it raises red flags in my books. It's telling me that the housing market is in, well, some weird sort of crisis, because the bulk of the auctions that have been going on in the neighborhood have been failing. Basically, people not turning up or prepared to even put a bid in, and vendors who are setting extremely high, unrealistic values on their homes. You might get lucky, as these people did, and have someone who's got a bottomless pit of money, but I tell you what, when I saw this sell for $2 million, oh man, it's a massive red flag. Oh, Cocky's happy I'm here at least. This is a curious pile of rubbish. It's outside a childcare centre in the suburb where I live. So you're seeing all sorts of things that you would find in childcare centres. It looks like a lot of this stuff is water affected. Mind you, we've had a lot of rain over the last 3 years, or should I do it like that? Dolls' houses that have been wrecked by the ravages of water. And you're probably thinking, oh boo-hoo, it's all water damaged stuff from a childcare centre, but it's when I looked in this section of the rubbish pile over here, I started to get very excited. And you know what I get excited about, don't you? Look down there. It's a Dyson baby, yeah. I just dragged this Dyson out. I'm a fair walk from my home. I'm going to have to walk this home. Oh, a bit clumsy, wasn't it? A few things I can see straight away, apart from not seeing the DC number. I can see it's still got its electrical cable, which is nice. The copper thieves haven't got to this yet. I've certainly had plenty of these Dysons. When I see this Radix Cyclone blah blah. This is a fairly common one that I find on the rubbish piles. I just hope it hasn't ingested water. Because it's in a childcare centre, it has been electrically tested. I can see it's still within its date there. And to me, that's a little bit curious. Well, this video is made in 2024. This is not a spring chicken Dyson. I can see it's had plenty of wear and tear. You can tell that by the marks and scuffs on it. I often talk about this when I look at consumer goods on rubbish piles. Looking at the head here is also another indicator to how much work a machine has done. Taking off this piece here will reveal its model number. This is the Dyson DC29. If you're smarter than me, you can tell me the year it was made. What I like about Dysons is they're often dynamic in colour. This one's got a white top. I've seen yellow, I've seen gold, I've seen every colour under the sun. And maybe that's why I get excited about Dysons. I've stowed the wand in the right spot. This baby's coming home with me. Now I'm going to look like a goose carrying this all the way home. On the way home, I can see someone decided they didn't like their tyres. Well, this is interesting and strange, and I'm on the way home. I'm still carrying that Dyson that I found. You remember this pile of rubbish here? And what I found here, and now what's gone? I just put the Dyson down for a sec. This was the pile of rubbish that had the artwork that I looked at, and it was leaning up against this here. I think there was an office chair here, and a reminder to the other things that were here, there was a lot of little sports balls, but just one's been left behind. Maybe to help you, I'll just zap back in time to what was here when I found the artworks. Okay, look carefully there, what's there, and what is of value there. I only said the artwork was of value. Now I'll zap back to today as I'm shooting this, and now look what's left behind. So again, am I sort of missing something here? Is there stuff of value that I'm just not seeing now? It almost gets back to that saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Okay, a small pile of rubbish. I can see a Victor lawnmower catcher there. I can see the plug that you use for mulching is there. That's quite a curious thing to see thrown out. But what I want to look at carefully is this Tonka truck. I can see this is a latter era Tonka truck. It's got a lot of plastic in this. This part used to be metal back in the day. All of the Tonka stuff, well, these days seems to rust out terribly. Classic example of it there. But it's when you look underneath these, sometimes you'll find, well, you know where this is going. I'm being a little bit careful. I can see some web in the wheel there. I can see some web up in the wheel arch here. But it's when we take a look underneath, it might reveal more of the story. I can see smaller web here, but at first glance I can't see anything dramatic. I've got the light of Rooney on. I've got a stick here. I'm just seeing if anything's crawling in there. It is winter time, so spiders, that is redback spiders, tend to be fairly idle during winter time, but they will hide in a nesty area and recluse during winter. But I'm not seeing anything rank, nasty and scary spidery coming out of this. I think I'll describe it as I can see the beginnings of what is Spider Town going on here, and I will get this back up onto its wheels. I don't think anyone's going to collect this. Considering its condition, again, it's rusted out. Looks like it's a bit sun affected here. Yeah, you see a lot of these on the rubbish piles. Okay, a nice small pile of rubbish. I can see a modified device for holding down criminals there. That's in Australia. I can see some redback spider breeders. But what's in this box has caught my eye. Okay, it's a digital multimeter. I don't think this is a good brand. Well, then again, I might be totally corrected. Okay, obviously got some problems there. I mean, that's what I'm dealing with there. Maybe you know more than me. Okay, it's an unusual thing to find out in the rubbish piles, but this here is quite curious. In my books, it's little boxes that you use to make electronic blah blah in. Okay, now last time I went to the store, well, they're not cheap. It's something that's got value to it, and they're just out here on the rubbish pile. Of course, we've had a lot of rain, which seems to be a constant now. Yeah, there's lots of these. This is a bigger size. It's quite curious, all wet. And yeah, just making a note of it because really it's something of value that, well, it's out in the rubbish pile. But you're probably thinking, come on Leo, there's more in there, isn't there? Yes, well, maybe we've got a clue to what's going on here. We'll take this away and we're starting to really get into what's of value in here. I'm just going to pull out bit by bit. There's some solder here. Okay, that's definitely of value. I'll definitely be taking this home. There's some tools. I'm thinking the tools are just nothing special. It's Performer, so that's just a generic brand tool. This is it's a Stanley. If it was Alpha brand, I would be keeping it, but that's just another generic blah blah. Okay, another knife here. In Australia, if you get caught out in public with stuff like this, well, you basically end up in jail. It's a very different world in Australia, let's say, versus other countries. Little tinkery hammer here. We just had better tinkery days by the look of it. So we're getting a real feel for the tools here, aren't we? This is an unusual one. Very, very small, maybe circlip type blah blah. I'm not sure of the brand there. OK Industries. Yeah, and more just tinkery stuff there. You know, a stapler. Maybe you can work out what profession was going on here. One of these here. This is one that, yeah, I know this tool. You can pull this out and there'd be another like cheese head on the other end of it. Okay. And other rubbish down there like that, which we don't really need to see. I should pull this out. Look, people say, but you didn't see the money. There's a battered 10-cent piece there. It's yeah, it's had a pretty tough time. Anyway, I'll put this back. I like to put things back as I found them. I think that's very important to do. So it just shows you what happens when you lift up a few things. What starts to be revealed, doesn't it, hey? Put it all back into the box. Put that on top like that. And of course, I told you I was taking home the solder. Another nice pile of rubbish. I can see a toilet there. We won't look too carefully at the toilet, but there's one thing here I can see, and I'm not going to get too involved in this. All I'll say is if you're ever buying a stick vacuum, buy a Dyson, hey? I just see too many of this style, no matter what brand. That one's Electrolux, getting thrown out in the rubbish pile. This is one that you could pull this piece out from, the rest of the stick. Yeah, my advice is don't go there, buy a Dyson. I've always had that saying, the rubbish piles talk to me. Even this pile of wet cardboard with carpet on top is telling me something about the new TV that this house has installed. I'd be really careful what I'm throwing out and letting other people see. A nice small pile of rubbish. Next to this rubbish pile is something that's very important in Australia. It's about the only thing we can use to apprehend criminals on the streets. We can't carry guns here, but we can carry milk crates. It goes back to a case that happened in Sydney. There's also an office chair here with some bedding on top, but I'm going to very quickly look at these toys here. Always checking to see if it's spiderific first, because we live in Australia. Looks fairly clean, and I'll sound like a broken record here. Since we lost our charity shop, it's unfortunate to see toys like this, and there's nothing wrong with these toys out on the rubbish piles. Okay, nothing wrong with these toys. I don't think they're very special in any sense, but losing the charity shop has been a big loss to us. A nice wet pile of rubbish, and there's something here that has really caught my eye. In fact, it looks like it's still in its box there. It's this Bissell carpet spot cleaner. Why has it been thrown out? I don't think that's very old. Very ominous. It's still got the tags on it as if it was brand new. And the box here still has all of the attachments and blah blah here. In fact, if I reach down here, hopefully there's no spiders. There's all of this here. It's very soggy and wet because I've had all this rain. Wow. Okay, so there's other tanks here. There's other attachments here. Please tell me if you've had one of these, and please tell me what you think about it. I'm looking at this and this thing looks barely used. Wow. Just looking back at the paperwork, there's extend your warranty there. Yeah. Is it really worthwhile extending a warranty on something like this? Let's take a look at what model this is and what year it's from. Maybe we can learn from down there somewhere. There's a very important information there. Bissell, model number, blah, 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 made in China. But what's also shouting out to me is household type. There's an important read here. Maybe we'll just squiz at that for a sec. Now, one thing I'll say is I don't often see carpet cleaning machines out in the rubbish piles. I've made note of that multiple times in other videos. Looking at the head here, which is going to show you the wear and tear or the damage that this has done, I'd say this is being used. And they're sort of monsters to clean. Some of these devices are a bit tricky to clean. You've got to know the little tricks in cleaning them. Please tell me if you've had one of these, and please tell me what you think of one of these. But I noticed something on the box that is possibly telling to this model here. The one here, it says Bissell, and if I go down here, it just says spot clean. And when taking a look at the box here, which is starting to confuse me, I see this here, Bissell Spot Clean Professional. So are these the same machines? I can see the price tag of the professional model. It's nearly $250, and in my books, that's a lot of money for a carpet spot cleaner. Looking again at the wet paperwork, I can see Bissell Professional Spot Cleaner, but it really is confusing. I don't know whether this is directly related to that there. So if I'm not really that sure, I've sort of got to leave it, don't I? Maybe this was the previous model. I'm going to have to look online and just get my head around what's going on here. Maybe it was a swap out or something. Very curious to find that on the rubbish pile, and in my books it hasn't done that much work. Okay, I've just got the info. So this older model, the hoses go hard and split, and the professional model was the next one along. So we are dealing with, yeah, okay, so here we go. That's the problem. Thank God I bumped into the owner. It's important to understand all this, I feel, because I was starting to work out which is which here. How long do you reckon you had that machine for, this one here?
That one?
Yeah.
We've had that, I should think, 10 years.
Okay, fair enough, that's quite good. I ended up having a long conversation about this cleaner here. This was the next one they purchased, so they stayed brand loyal. Very important, I felt, this time. I was a bit suspicious about whether this was the same as that. And as I've just been told by the owner, this is the older model. He said 10 years, but I'm going to just double check that when I look online. I was a bit suspicious when I saw how fresh this tag is here. And then as I found out, the hoses are the problems. If I find that dodgy hose again, there's also an issue with this, whatever this does here. Apparently this plays up as well, this breaks. I've got to find that dodgy hose again. Give me a second. Okay, I found the hose, and it was very interesting to hear the story about the hose. That's the break there. This is the problem with this machine. Nothing wrong with the machine apart from hoses going wrong. And he even gave me a remedy how to stop that from happening. He said if you clean them out with fresh water after using them, because they use chemicals to do their carpet cleaning, he said you can help stop this from happening. Maybe you got one of these machines. Maybe you can tell me more. It was fascinating to talk to the owner. He said lots more about this carpet cleaner. I did look on the product review website in relation to the Bissell Spot Cleaner that I found on the rubbish pile. There's some very mixed reviews there. There's some very good things being said. But what I found interesting was the verification of the problem with the hoses. Let me read you some reviews. Sheza from Victoria says, preferred older model. Second time now I had to seek repairs to the hose attachment as it breaks off at the hand attachment. Why use the plastic and wire material is beyond comprehension. Blind Teddy can see with use it cracks and will break. Thank goodness we had the 3-year warranty, or else this machine would have ended up in the tip. Preferred the older model, better suction and cleaning. Purchased back in 2018 at Harvey Norman. Mel from Queensland says this: great, but doesn't last. Saved my carpets from some serious spills. The whole unit was replaced under warranty as the hose hardened with age. Less than 2 years later, the hose has hardened again and the cleaner is unusable. Can't buy the hose as a spare part as it's a sealed unit. Product doesn't last beyond the warranty period. There's more I could read here. There's some very positive things said. Obviously, some people just love this machine. But what I'm reading here is verifying exactly what I saw and what I was told by the owner of the machine that I found on the side of the road. A bit further along in the video, I returned to this rubbish pile here, and that's very interesting to see what has been taken and what's been left behind. And this style of machine is a very cloned machine. Let's take a look at one of the cheap clones in store. This could be part of the video. This is an Anko spot cleaner. This is extremely similar to the Bissell I found on the side of the road. I think you need to spray on your carpet cleaner separately with this machine. That's what's a little bit different. It's a very cheap machine. It's only $99. There are people online swearing this is the best thing since sliced bread. I'll be very curious how this hose holds up if it's the same style as what's in the Bissell. So yeah, just wanted to point this out. Extremely similar machine, $99. Okay, this has to be a miraculous first for rubbish pile finds. I found Air Force One. This is frippin' unbelievable. It's had a pretty savage crash. It's still got its little motors on here. Surely they're worth something. Look at that there, little ducted fans. My God, I've never come across Air Force One on the rubbish piles ever before. Amazing. I'm just having a bit of a closer look at these little ducted fans. I don't know much about these. Yeah, are they trash or is it worth ripping off and, I don't know, putting onto some hover shoes or something? Just don't know. Okay, I've just spoken to the person who put this out in the rubbish pile. Quite an interesting story. I'll try and condense it a bit. This is a model from the late 90s, early 2000s. It came in from the United States, strangely enough. He brought it in because it wasn't available in Australia, but a lot of times it's like that in Australia. It was controlled by vectored thrust. So the control surfaces, when it originally came, there was no controls. He actually added these onto this model, okay? So all this has been added on to try to control this model. You can see the foam's in pretty poor condition. But he said he got it up flying once, and he said it was, well, very hard to control. But he thought the idea of controlling it through vectored thrust, that is just altering the thrust out of each of these motors, was almost comical. The owner of this dumped Air Force One gave me the challenge to find any video of this model flying in its out-of-the-box vectored thrust state. He explained to me a slight gust of wind would have far more effect on the aircraft versus trying to control it with those small ducted fans. This Air Force One is an Estes model. I did some digging online and found some pictures from old eBay sales. It looks frippin' awesome in the way it was presented in box. And then I found this amazing video by the YouTuber Mini Flyer, who's done the same conversion as the one that I found that was thrown out in the rubbish piles. This conversion takes away the vectored thrust idea and turns it into a 3-channel ailerons, elevator and throttle setup, and it's powered by a 1000 milliamp LiPo battery. Mini Flyer's video of the converted Air Force One speaks about all the problems of the out-of-the-box experience with this amazing model, and it completely verifies what I was told by the owner of the one that I saw thrown out. Of course, I'll put a link down in the info area of this video of Mini Flyer's fascinating video in relation to this model. It's well worth watching. It was great to get the backstory of this model that was thrown out. It sent me down a bunny hole of investigation, but it was worthwhile to see the story of how people convert this model into something that's flyable. And thinking of electric ducted fans these days, 25 years on from when this model was in the marketplace, they are so different. They're affordable, they look awesome, and they fly really well. Okay, piece of art. I like to add some culture into these videos. It's quite sizable. I'll put my paw print in there. You get a scale of what's going on here. I can't see a name on this. It's a modernist piece, as I'll call it. Okay, there's the back of it. There's no name or anything. Maybe you can tell me what you think that's depicting. What I'm going to say, it's depicting the three sisters up in the Blue Mountains. Very abstract. Okay, this is a little bit unusual, but I think I'm starting to join the dots as to why pedestal fans, there's a pedestal here, there's no fan here, there's no fan here, and there's no fan here. I think I can explain what's going on. It's the metal prices. The copper price has peaked while I'm making this video, and I think the scrap metal merchants are grabbing anything, and that is anything that's got copper in it. That's my theory. Another pile of rubbish. It's quite a large pile of rubbish. There's a few things that caught my eye immediately. It looks like a film projector there, small format film projector, a tripod down here, but it's a camera case up here that I feel holds a little story of how things used to be. And when I bring out this baby here, we are there. It's a 8mm video camcorder, a Canon Vision E110. It's almost like, regular show format wars, or part of it in a sense. If you ever watched the regular show, this wouldn't have been a cheap unit in its day. The problem with these machines, well, multiple problems if they're older, is often the lenses get fungus on them. It looks like that one's fungused up, and the boards, the capacitors leak, and it renders them basically totally useless. I can see there is a tape trapped in this machine, and you think about that, you're either a Canon person or a Sony person, or maybe a JVC, a VHS compact person back in the day. Okay, so yeah, bringing back some quite strong memories for me. I was a Sony person, without saying I'm paid by Sony to say that. I can see here there's one of the, just the case of that style of video, a battery charger here. I think there's a battery in here as well. Sadly, it's all junk. It looks like it's been wet. It's had a torrid time, whatever's gone on in there. But seeing that, what replaced this is the thing that I'm holding in my hand at the moment. Basically smartphones with cameras. Completely buried that style of video making. Okay, some more rubbish on the side of the road. You're probably thinking, oh, there's nothing there to look at. A little bit of rubbish on that side, a little bit more rubbish on that side, but it's what down there that's caught my eye. This is a very unusual find. These are the cat's eyes that are put into the suburb where I live to tell the fire brigade where the hydrants are. They are hydrant indicators that are put onto the road, and there's stacks of them here. And when I mean stacks, I mean multiple boxes of these, what I classify as fairly hard to find cat's eyes that are put onto the road. I believe this was an American idea. I've had people talking about these online when I've shown my cat's eye collection. These, well, in a strange way, don't hold much magic for me because they haven't been hit by cars and there's no road wear on these. They're brand spanking new. They've got a very interesting surface on the underneath. It's very coarse. I can see that the adhesive would latch into that. But when they're fresh like this, they're, I don't know, they're not as magical as if they've been hit by cars and had a life. To me, the big question is, why aren't these on the road doing their job? Why are they out in the rubbish pile? To give you a clue where I found all the road reflecting cat's eyes, which are blue, that's where I found them. That sign should tell you where I am. Nice pile of rubbish, a lot of boxes here, and there's something here that caught my eye. And it's something I don't often find. It's a whole stack of what looks like iPhone cases. Okay, all brand new. Quite curious, I rarely see anything like that. And I see a little toy tank here, and I think it's a Transformers model. Yeah, it's a Decepticon, I think, going by the front there. Looks like that underneath. Quite nice, isn't it? Lovely. I look at this small pile of rubbish here, and it's what I don't see, and what's left behind is talking to me. There used to be ceiling fans here because these are the blades from ceiling fans, but the motors are gone. And there's a yappy dog next door. Hello, have you got an owner? Hey, you look friendly. You look very yappy as well. I'm going to look at the rubbish pile here. It's where I found that Bissell spot carpet cleaner, which was quite an involved story. And it looks like the Bissell has gone. But look what's been left behind. What's left here is the hose that's got the problem, and reviews online talk about this wire embedded plastic hose as being very easy to break and split in this manner. And now I look here more carefully, I can see what looks like two identical hoses here. I'm pretty sure they're the same component, broken in exactly the same way. Now, the gentleman who spoke to me about the machine that was here, he had a lot to say about it. And he did say there was replacement parts up for a time and then they stopped. My God, I hope you can tell me more about this, but this is the weakest link in this design. It's a shame because it's not a cheap machine. Sort of curious that carpet shampoo is gone. The owner did say there was nothing wrong with the machine. It was only the hosing that presented the problem. And again, I've missed out on something that was worthwhile picking up off the rubbish piles. I'm in a really fire-prone part of the suburb. It has got me really spooked while I saw these hydrant indicators thrown out along the side of the road. And I'll show you how they work. It's very simple. There's one in the middle of the road here in the fire-prone part of town. I can also see a H painted on the road of an arrow. And if you follow all the arrows there, guess where it leads you? There's the fire hydrant there. It's painted yellow. It's nice and bright, easy to see. I can also see a H in the concrete there as well. So yeah, why have those cat's eye fire hydrant indicators been thrown out? I'm still in the fire prone part of the suburb, great big bush valley next to me. I know lots of those blue cat's eyes are missing because I noticed things like this. What should be there is one like that, pointing in that direction there, because in that direction, guess what? There's a fire hydrant over there. So yeah, this has me spooked. I can see the H with the arrow there. That's the cat's eye I just installed. If I had glue on me, I would make right, but I don't have any glue on me. I'll take this away. Apart from the cat's eyes that are totally missing, there's also other ones that have seen far better days, and this is on a much busier road in the suburb. There's a worn out one, there's a brand new one. I know which one I'd rather see on the road. Oh, there's a beautiful cat here. Let's see how friendly this cat is. Come here. Got to make the right cat sounds. Come here. You're a beauty. You gonna come close to me? Come on. Just get my fingers out making flicky noises. Oh, you're beautiful. Here he comes. Get down lower. Come here. Nice and slow. Come here. Come on. Yes, he's going to get closer. It's going to take a little bit of time. Come here. I think it's a boy going by the face. Oh, it's beautiful. Hello. What's your name? Hey? I'd say it's a bit of an older cat. I'd definitely say it's a boy by the face. Come here, no collar. But now going up to maybe its home. Beautiful thing. A little bit wary. Do you remember this pile of rubbish? It had the Tonka toy that was a bit rusted out, but it also had the part that goes in the Victor lawnmower that does the mulching. The mulching plug's gone, and the Tonka toy's also gone. I'll have a very quick look at the stick vac. It's missing the dust buster section that would pull out from there. It's Hoover brand, and I had to laugh at its name. Ultra Power. Well, maybe it was, or maybe it wasn't. Okay, do you remember this pile of rubbish right here? I made a lot of noise about finding that quite miraculous foam Air Force One 747, which is an Estes model, and I made a bit of noise about that in this video, I hope, if I've remembered. Now, what's curious here is the ducted fan electric motors have been taken away. And it's weird, maybe I thought they were fairly funky, but it looks like, again, someone's picked up on stuff that, well, maybe I should have picked up on. I'm always missing out. A lovely pile of rubbish, all sorts of things here. Most of it is rubbish, and it's the item down here that caught my eye. It's a Dyson stick vac stick in a sense. It says there upside downsy, Dyson V6 Slim, and I know exactly what's wrong with this. It's that there. See how it's all clogged up? I'm pretty sure I can fix this up and make it as good as new. When Dyson moved to the next model up, the V8, they totally redesigned the head here. It was a totally different size roller, and you didn't get the clogging that you see going on here. So for me, this is easily fixable, and I will be definitely taking this home. Woo! I ended up doing a little video study of fixing up the Dyson V6 stick vac stick section. It's all blocked up. It has been neglected in its life, and it's not difficult to clean these Dyson components. I'm not going to bore you with what I did here. Maybe it'll be a different video on YouTube, or maybe these days it's not even worth going there. As I said when I picked this up off the rubbish pile, by the time the V8 came along, there was a totally redesigned power head. I should have said there was a V7 after the V6, and the V7 and V6 were basically the same unit. And Dyson struck gold when they made the V8 and did the redesign. It went on to become the most popular stick vac that they've ever made. I've got two of them, and there was one that I found on the rubbish pile, and it just needed a new battery and a nice cleanup. And it was as good as gold. In fact, it was almost like new. And it seems there are people who just buy electrical appliances and run them into the ground. I've seen so many vacuum cleaners that all they need is a bit of a tidy up, a clean filter put in, and they would be just like new. But it seems for some people doing that is just too hard to do. Okay, another gutted fan. It's a pedestal fan, and look what's missing. It's the electrical motor's missing. The guards are here, the fan blade's here, and the plug is being cut clean off. Yeah, this is a new syndrome I've noticed this time around. Another pile of unremarkable rubbish until I look here, and again I see a pulled apart pedestal fan. There's the pedestal part there. There's the guard for the fan blades, and the fan blades have been ripped to shreds, so fanboys are going to get really annoyed by seeing that. And then next to it is quite a wonderful looking bubble machine. Look at that there. You ever had one of them? Well, this one's on the rubbish pile. Another pile of rubbish, lovely office chair there, but what I'm more curious about is the ditch switch operating over there. And this time around I can see its amazing ditch switch head. Okay, do you remember what was at this pile of rubbish here? It's a little bit dark, so I'm up close. I've got the light on my phone. Do you remember what was in this box here? And I made a bit of noise about it because I was quite surprised that they were out on the rubbish pile. There's a hint to what was in the box. The blue cat's eyes that are used for fire hydrant identification, they've all been taken. What I notice here is up here is this black gooby, and this would be the gooby that's used to adhere those cat's eyes to the road. This was here before, but I didn't quite understand what it was. Okay, so there's the shape of the cat's eyes. That's the gooby that glues it down. When I saw someone had a keen interest in those blue reflecting cat's eyes for hydrants, I went home and looked at the prices online, and that's when my jaw dropped to the ground. I was looking at potentially hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of something that I could have sold online at a much cheaper price. I dare say it's the sort of thing that you would buy in bulk and the prices would come down, but there are people selling them in pairs for very high prices. Whoever has picked these up doesn't understand the system that you need the bitumen pad that adheres the cat's eyes down onto the road. But now I understand the value of these cat's eyes. Oh man, I'm actually pissed off because this stupid video is going to make me, let's say, $20. Then of course YouTube will dump it. And I'm just a goose that goes around showing you thousands of dollars worth of stuff that people throw out, and YouTube will pay me a few peanuts for doing it. I'm on the wrong side of the fence, so I've just got to pick up stuff and just flog it online. I could be a very wealthy person for doing that. Okay, I think we've looked at enough items in this video to paint a picture of which direction we're going in, and of course that's always south. This is the part of town where at the last curbside cleanup, which was last year's summertime one of 2023, I was chased out of this area by a rogue resident saying I was doing illegal things. Well, here I am back again doing illegal things as per usual. Of course, this was the 2024 wintertime curbside cleanup, and the item that sticks in my mind that made me ask a lot more questions was that Yard King lawnmower. It was yellow, and when I saw how it was presented in store and I saw how it changed its name and its color, I thought to myself, oh, that's curious, isn't it? Same sort of price as I was quoted by the owner. And it made me dig further and further into what's going on there. It's probably worthy of a video to be all by itself. It may be part of this video. I'm yet to decide. But I said, I think at the time, it may have been the piston rings. Pistons have compression rings and an oil scraper ring. Now the oil scraper ring may have been broken, but the oil could have also been coming from the valve guides because it's a 4-stroke engine. But to see something that had barely been used blowing so much smoke is worrying. Anyway, I'll leave this video here. Maybe you learned something about what I looked at, and maybe you learned zero. The only thing I can see at the moment is, obviously, last night was bin night. I'm going to finish this video with a nice treat for the people who've suffered it right till the end. This is one of the Dysons that I picked up in this collection video. It was outside a childcare centre. I want you to listen carefully. Ooh, okay, the motor's burnt out. It really smells like a burnt out motor as well. So that Dyson's cactus. I'll show you all the Dysons I collected in this video next. With the sun coming out, this is all the complete Dysons that I collected in the winter curbside cleanup. It's a nice haul. Remember, I found that component from the V6 stick vacuum as well, but it was last year's curbside cleanup where I really cleaned up. Over there are the Dysons that were collected during the winter and summer curbside cleanup in my part of town. So this was collected in just one small suburb of Sydney. There's all sorts of different Dysons here. There's Dyson stick vacuums amongst this as well. Lots of memories here, isn't there? Remember I spoke about the colours and how you get different colours of different models? That's why I like collecting Dysons. Going along here, there was this very, very strange one that nobody could really work out. It might have been one of their first stick vacs. It's like nothing else, but it is a Dyson. Going along a bit further, the nice gold top there. Another stick vac up there. Just going to get my dirty shadow in there for a moment. Yeah, so last year, even though I didn't go out for the winter curbside clean out, people were collecting for me, throwing them over the fence, but I found a stack more during summer as well. So again, get your dirty eyeballs across that collection that was made from just 1 year. Astonishing. It's an amazing collection just for 1 year's collection. Now my little task is to add that, plus the cleaners that I found in this video, to the Dyson collection that I've got that's been amassing over the last couple of years. This collection started with one Dyson and it's just got massive. Just walking the trailer very slowly from the other end now, and there's layers of Dysons there. Two of the Dysons in this trailer are actually my personal ones. There was one that I purchased to start with, and it was one of these. I don't know whether it was this one here. I remember picking one of these up on the rubbish pile. There's one over there as well, and there's one of the stick vacs in here. Was my personal one, and I got those just to get a bit of a feel for Dyson. Yes, it's expensive gear, but it's good gear, and I've got no commercial connection with the company, but I've got a massive collection. And I just like the oddball ones, like this DC03 here, which had a really strange filter system. It was really unusual, and the Dyson design just keeps changing, and maybe that's part of the joy of collecting it. My other personal one that I bought to get my head around Dyson, I think it's that DC35 in there. I wonder if it still works. That's Dyson for you. There's a design feature that Dysons have, and it's this here, and it's where the cones are to do all the dust separation, and everything here has a purpose, and it's something that gets ripped off and mimicked by the rattiest of vacuum cleaner manufacturers. And I always keep one of the ratty ones here as an example, and it's got that same look as a Dyson, but that has nothing to do with the Dyson feature. It is just absolute BS. So that's what you got to be really careful of. There's fake stuff like this, but what you want is the glory of a real Dyson. And please remember, I'm not paid to say any of this sales bullshit. Believe me, I'm not paid a cent. Let me add all of that stuff over there and the stuff that's over there onto here. Okay, so there's my whole Dyson collection. In some parts of the trailer there, it's about 5 deep in Dysons. And so many people have asked me, Leo, when are you going to show your whole Dyson collection? Well, there it is, okay? And it's going to be very interesting to see who's persisted in this video to see the Dyson glory. There's another angle of it, and the way this collection started was when I looked at curbside cleanouts and what people throw out. I used to say I could see 100 generic vacuum cleaners versus 1 Dyson. But what I'm noticing now is the Dyson penetration into the marketplace is obviously getting bigger and bigger, because I'm finding more and more Dysons. And just about every time when I find a Dyson, guess what? They're never spring chickens. I just had someone walking by our house and they saw this trailer of Dysons and they said to me, my God, what's going on there? I just said, look, it's just a mental disorder I've got. And I shouldn't laugh, this is a serious disorder. When I get sick of collecting the Dysons, and remember I did it just to prove a point about Dyson penetration into the marketplace versus rubbish vacuum cleaners, at least it's all up on a trailer. I'm just walking around here and I can just drive it straight to the tip and unload all the Dyson glory at a tip. Because really, in essence, the value of this is probably zero. I really love that gold top Dyson. Anyway, I fulfilled something that many people have asked for. So many times I see in the comment section, Leo, when are you going to show your Dyson collection? Well, most people are going to probably miss it because it's up the end of this wacky video. But what I'm saying is I fulfilled exactly what people have asked. I have showed my Dyson collection.